Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the elder bishops out there, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is another sit-down lesson on this January the 15th, 2022. On this Saturday, on this Saturday afternoon. And this is a recent article right here. This is from RT.com. And it was published on January the 15th, 2022, 11:45. And the highlight of this article says U.S. to train Ukrainian insurgents in EU. Media reports. Washington reportedly considering arming and training Ukrainians if Russia occupies neighbor. It says, and this is from a photo right here. It says a Ukraine soldier uses a launcher with U.S. Javelin missiles during military exercises in the region. Ukraine on January the 12th, 2022. A defense ministry press service. It says the U.S. is molding a strategy to subverting, a Russia aims without direct involvement in case it invades Ukraine, the New York Times reports on Friday, adding that may involve arming and training Ukraine fighters in Europe. Yeah, that do make sense because you already have United States already funded $300 million in that defense bill Joe Biden signed early in this year, I believe. No, I think it was early in last year of December of 2021, I believe. And then you still got the deployed of the troops that was from stationed in Florida, and they've been, deployed it over there, Ukraine. So that situation does make a lot of sense, And continuing on with the reading, American President Joe Biden has apparently not made up his mind about what his government will do in the event that Moscow occupies the foreign Soviet Republic. The newspaper claims, however, it insists that the officials have come up with a possible U.S. response in the case of attack does take place. The Washington apparently believe that Ukraine does not stand a chance against a potential Russian invasion forces in an open battle, and instead has its focus on supporting Ukraine guerrilla warfare on its territory that could occupied by Moscow. The reports explains if Russian President Vladimir Putin invades Ukraine with a major military force, U.S. and NATO military assisted intelligence, cyber and anti-armor and anti-air weapons offense, naval missiles will ratchet up significantly. James Stavridis, a retired four-star Navy admiral who also served as the NATO Supreme Allied Commander, told the newspaper. It says, and if it turned into a Ukraine insurgents, Putin should realize that after fighting insurgencies ourselves for 2 decades, we know how to arm, train, and energize them, he added. The Amir apparently was drawing upon the experience of the U.S. in Afghanistan. It says there, Washington first served the Mujahideen fighting the Soviet troops in the late 1970s and the late 1980s, and then found itself fighting the Taliban for around about 2 decades before eventually leaving the country in a rare, hasty manner last year. American military support for Ukraine will make our efforts in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union look puny by comparisons. Stavridis said, according to the New York Times, the plan would involve training that would be insurgents in the nearby NATO countries such as Poland, Romania, and Slovenia, as well as providing them with weapons, logical, logistical support, medical equipment, and sanctuaries during Russia counter offenses against the guerrilla fighters. Right, because Russia, they got that back ally separatist group as well too. So continuing on with the reading. So, unarmed senior White House official also made it clear in talks with American allies, which is NATO, the EU, the 7 countries of NATO, that the Ukraine could also rely upon avert assistance from the Pentagon and covered help from the Central Intelligence Agencies. So far, it says U.S. has only supplied Ukraine with defense weapons, including anti-tank missiles, radar communication equipment, and patrol boats to avoid provoking Russia if Moscow decides to invade. The U.S. will the U.S. could offer offense weaponry and rebellion training to Kyiv as well, the paper reports. It adds that the Biden administration seeks to capitalize on the political repercussions for Moscow from Russia troop casualties in a potential conflict with Ukraine. Ellen E. Farks, a former deputy assistant secretary of defense for Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia in the Barack Obama administration, believes that Washington should not hold off Russia such in a situation. I think the gloves should come off, she said. The U, the U, the New York Times, meanwhile, admit that the likelihood of an insurgence itself is a weak spot of the whole plan, particularly if Russia supposedly limit itself to occupy only the eastern part of Ukraine that are tremendously more supportive of Moscow than of the West. The reports come after a week of high-level talks with NATO and the OSSE to discuss a Moscow proposal improving collective security in Europe. The U.S. and its allies rejects Russia's key proposal out of hand. Following the talks, White House once again accused Russia of fabricating, a pretext for involving Ukraine in something Moscow has dismissed as a baseless claim. So yeah, United States, they are definitely considering, even though they equip the Ukrainian soldiers with militaries, weapons, anti-radars and all other military equipped things, just in case just in case of a huge confrontation goes down with Russia continuing invading Ukraine, along with the Russian-backed allied separatist groups as well too. So, United States is prepared and ready, to help Ukraine out if anything fully do goes down with the invasion of Russia. So I'm gonna bring out a scripture for that. This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 8. For nations shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdoms. There shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famine and troubles, right? Troubles of that World War III potentially is coming up, and it's increasingly on an everyday basis as we see this in the news. That situation with the Ukraine and Russia and United States and NATO and the EU of the seven countries, that's intensifying and it's heating up, in other major wars around the world as well too. I believe it was another article that I read, the Arab coalition through the past 24 hours, they've been using heavy airstrikes on the Houthi rebels over there, killing at least about 300 of them over there in the southern region of Yemen. You got that huge conflict over there as well too. That been going on since 2015. So you got a lot of many different wars that's going on around the world. Like that situation over there in Iraq when a U.S. base where U.S. soldiers were stationed over there. They get close to almost getting hit by two rockets. I believe it was a counter rocket had shut those rockets down, and then it was like a couple of civilians had got injured, and then you got the situation going on with Hezbollah. They rising up. They tired of being called as being terrorists. They sending shots at the Arab Saudi Arabia's. The Saudi Arabian army coalition. They still dealing with already a situation over there in the region of Yemen. They in war with the Houthi rebels over there. So you got a lot of many different things of these nations are going against each other. You know, in a warlike standpoint, and from a physical military standpoint, a verbal standpoint, and the wars and rumors of war standpoint as well too. And that's starting to come a reality. These wars and rumors of wars you've been hearing as rumors on a consistent basis, you know, as you hear it in the news. These things are taking place, and the rumors of wars are definitely starting to heat up and turn up in the year 2022, and it's starting to become a full reality, in the times that we're living in. We're seeing these prophecies and things, and right before our eyes, right before our eyes, and right in front of our eyes as well, too. And continuing on, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famine, right? The continue of increase of famines will rise and then turn up and increase. And troubles, right? You're gonna see consistent and non-stop troubles around the world, and many different things in many different categories of things gonna turn up. First, it might cool down a little bit, but it's gonna push right back up, and it's gonna turn right back up. Because these are the signs of the times that we're living in. A roughly paraphrase of the scripture says, when in the last days, perilous times shall come, and these are the beginning of sorrows. And we are definitely in the stages of processing of the things that are beginning of sorrows. We are living in those days of beginning of sorrows. Because you're seeing so much activity is going on around the world, and we are seeing these things right before our eyes, with the recently of the earthquake, 5.4 hit the Persian Gulf over there, I believe. Then you got that tsunami warning over there in Japan. And then you have that tsunami advisory going on over there in Tobacco, island over there. in that region where it got hit with a volcano eruption. Looked like a mushroom cloud exploded. I was looking through the radar and seeing the weather over there for heavy rains and floodings, over there in that region as well too. So, you got a lot of many activity that's going on around the world, and these are biblical prophecies. And this is the year of 2022 of Yahweh Shem Shai, constantly and consistently turning up the heat on things. And we seeing that right before our eyes. So, that's all I wanted to bring out on this situation currently right now of the U.S. to train Ukraine insurgents in EU, which is Washington reportedly considering arming and training Ukraine's soldiers if Russia occupies neighboring, you know. So yeah, these are the signs of times that we are living in currently. And so with that, I hope this is edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, oh, that's it too.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, oh, it's man.
Yeah.
I got to get me down like,
Dang.
I got sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Just lose all the race, so I just,
Right.
and it came up like, yeah.
Right.
It's my back teeth right now.
Yeah. Can you say at least you just get out the one part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the night, we're living dead. And man has some loose weed. I'll be like, yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna get that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, some loose weed right there that I got. Like, yeah.
Whatever it is. Oh, you can get that so you can throw it away. Your tooth. Your toothpiece right there so you can throw it away.
Now this ain't mine.
No, I'm talking about that one right there.
The roof.
Yeah.
I just found that. I'm gonna go for my tooth. I lost my tooth. What is my tooth, man? Not my baby.
So with that, I would like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, Ibrahim Millstone, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the elder bishops, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully, faithfully, strongly, and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching his word truthfully, faithfully, strongly, and sincerely. And until next time, I will say, shalom.